Welcome to another episode of Prescription for Life. My name is Linda Gallick. I'm the Health and Wellbeing Consultant at Amplify Health by Bellin, and I am so happy to be joined today by Kari Moody. Kari is the VP of Advancement at Curative Connections. So welcome, Kari.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So wanted to bring you in today because you are your organization is a fantastic community resource that I think bears some conversation, and let's learn more about it and kind of help our audience, understand some of the resources that are available to them. So would you just mind kind of starting with, well, first of all, tell us about you. How did you come to working at Curative Connections? What did that look like? Oh,
wow. So part of Curative's story is that most people don't know about Curative, unfortunately, until they might have a need for our services. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I've been with Curative now for 4 years and learned about the position, but didn't know a lot about Curative. My former career, I'd been at UW Green Bay for 10 years, which is literally right down the street from our main campus. It's just one of those things that people don't really know about Curative until you have a need for Curative. But we are all just a situation away from needing the supports that Curative provides.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about Curative. What do they do? Who do they serve? What is the organization about?
Absolutely. I like to tell a little bit of our history just to explain who we are. We provide adult day services to our community. We have 11 different programs, and we see more than 1,600 people on a weekly basis. So we're serving a lot of people. We have 3 different locations right now. We have our East Side campus, which is our largest campus. We have our West Side campus, which is reminiscent care, and I'll talk a little bit about that. That's a dementia-specific environment. And then we have a location in Shawano as well. So just to give you a little bit of history, we started back in 1948, so we're on our 78th year, and we came to be because polio was impacting our world, and our community was seeing so many people with physical conditions that we didn't have the resources to help. I find it so interesting because 3 civic groups came together to create Curative, one of which is the Altrusa House, which I know you guys at Bellin and Amplify have a great relationship with. So that's how it all started. And then through the years, we have always pivoted to be what the community needs of us at that time. So we were Curative Workshop for many, many years, and we were providing work opportunities, employment opportunities for people with disabilities, providing purpose. And that was a big part of who we are. And we to this day, we have skills development programs for adults with disabilities, but that's just a small fraction of what we're doing. So today, there are 3 different audiences of individuals that we're working with. People with disabilities who are coming in for employment skills development and life skills training, things like that. A lot of those individuals, they're just, honestly, I just absolutely love seeing these guys. They're out and about, they're doing stuff all the time, and a lot of times they'll attend both programs. So they'll attend life skills where they're learning budgeting and how to order at restaurants and making the bed. Everybody that comes to Curative has different goals that they're working on. So one person, it might be that they're trying to be more helpful to those that they're living with, and the next person, it might be they're trying to move out to live on their own. So we're working with everybody on those individual goals, and that's our mission, is to help people achieve their goals for independence. And then on the work side of it, the employment side of it, we work with people at every stage of employment. So we offer pre-vocational training, but we also assist people who are coming in and they're ready to work and need help with the application process, finding the right place, things like that, and then job coaching afterwards. So we have some really incredible stories of people who have gone through our program and come back now. They have jobs that they feel really good in, but they're learning how to hone different skills. There's a gentleman right now who is coming back and he's working on his social skills to be able to ask off from his boss and things like that. So Just some really cool things. So that's one of the audiences. And then we serve people who are either born with a cognitive condition or may have experienced something that caused a traumatic brain injury. So stroke, an accident, things like that. But also people who were born with autism and CP and Down syndrome, all different things. And we have 2 environments. That's our cognitive wellness program, rehab and wellness program. We have 2 environments, a classroom area, which we're helping people to potentially return to work after an accident or stroke. And then we also have our activities-based area where all different people are in that program, and they're doing all kinds of things that, again, they have different goals that they're working on, and it could be reasoning, it could be all different things, but the 2 different environments are really neat. And we have so many success stories of, there was a young man, I talk about him often, but his name's Bob. He's an associate principal in the Green Bay area, and in his mid-30s, he had a stroke. Fortunately, his wife recognized the signs. He was able to get in. But after the stroke diagnosis, he fell into a severe depression, which is very common. This is an incredibly bright individual who just was struggling. He actually ran marathons. He was a WIA referee and 2 young children with his wife, so very active. His wife found Curative. He started coming for like a half an hour a day. It was minimal. But as time went on, our occupational therapist, Valerie, who is just remarkable, she really struggled with the smartboard, and him having worked as an educator, that made sense to him. So that's how he initially started to progress in the program. Yeah. And then as time continued on, as a teacher, he would help others in the program. So he eventually graduated from the program, went back to being an associate principal. He ran the Cellcom Marathon for the last one. I don't know how many he's run since then. But he's back to doing all of the things that he loved, and we just needed to work with him to rebuild those pathways to get to that same deep level of intelligence that he has, but he had to find different ways to access that information. And then finally, the other area that we serve are really people who are dealing with memory loss. Right now, in Brown County alone, there are more than 5,000 people age 65 and up who are living with diagnosed memory loss. So there are over 130 different dementias, and that's just the diagnosed piece. Now, by 2040, that number is expected to grow by 105%. So Curative knew this was an issue, and not even an issue. We knew that this was going to severely impact our community. So 10 years ago, we started doing research to figure out how we could do better for people and families who have loved ones who have memory loss. And we now have 4 different environments at Curative that people can come into, depending at where they are in the progression of their disease. We have an early memory loss class. None of our programs do you need a diagnosis to attend. You can just come. We're incredibly affordable. Our classes are typically $7 an hour, which is less than what we would pay for our children to be in a daycare setting. Yeah. So it's really remarkable care provided by experts. And we have an early memory loss class where we're working with people. We can't stop the disease, but we are seeing some remarkable outcomes in that we can slow the progress of the disease and then sometimes even revert things for a little while. We have a gentleman, Don, who is in the program who will tell you he failed every single question on his neurological exam, and 6 months later he went back and he aced it. So his doctor said, you still have the form of dementia, you do, but I'm going to move you back on the spectrum. So just really incredible stories like that. Yeah. And then we have a large group dementia program and a small group dementia program. And the one that we've been doing the research on is our reminiscent care location. Have you heard at all about Yesteryear?
I have not.
So Yesteryear Village is our west side location. Sorry, I get really excited about all of
No,
this.
that's good. That's good.
And what we learned, this is actually a concept, a model that started in the Netherlands. And the Netherlands is known for being forward in healthcare. And we researched this, studied it, and we brought it to Green Bay. And right now we believe that we are the only nonprofit in all of the United States who is offering this level of care, reminiscent care for people with memory loss. And the concept is that when you're dealing with memory loss, as the disease progresses, you retain memories best between the ages of 18 and 30. So when you walk into this location, it's on the west side of Green Bay, you feel like you're walking into the 60s. And it's not a theater set. It is real. It's completely immersive. We have a diner where they coffee clutch in the morning, and they're making favorite recipes and doing all kinds of different things in that room. And then we have a automobile garage. And part of our services is we want to provide dignity of choice. So we have a very robust program. All day we have things planned. But if there's someone in the program that feels a lot more comfortable tinkering on a woodworking project in the garage, we want them to be able to step away and go do that. And that's what this space provides. There's a barbershop and hair salon. We give haircuts 4 times a month for free to our members. And foot care, all kinds of different things. So just all of those different connections to memories, whether it's a recipe that they're working on that is a triggered memory for them. We saw this work from the very, very first day we opened. There's a woman named Nancy who was in our program, and her disease had progressed to a point that she was really concerned her husband wasn't going to pick her up at the end of the day. And he's remarkable. He was a half hour early every single day. But our president and CEO said, well, let's just walk around. We'll see if we can find him. A lot of memory is redirecting when people are dealing with agitation. They came to the passenger train, and Nancy lit up and started telling Jeannie this really remarkable memory about how she and her sisters went to Texas on a passenger train, and you pull the bed out like this, you do all this stuff. But the remarkable part is her agitation completely went away. She had, it completely switched, and she was in a much more comfortable place for the day. So you can imagine that as time has gone on, Nancy's visited the passenger car several times, and we've heard that story and love to hear that story, and it just helps to bring her some peace as things are changing in her brain.
Yeah, that's so cool. You know, what strikes me is just this idea of, you know, really connecting to what people feel connected to. So having these submersive experiences where people really feel that connection, like what a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift for them.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think so. And with the different environments that we have, we want to make sure that there's a comfortable opportunity for people who connect differently. So like the small group dementia program, it might just be that they need a more intimate group of people that they feel like they know, and that's in a traditional classroom setting, but they get to, they become each other's biggest cheerleaders, and that's, you know, they just become this cohort of really good friends.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said that you have like adult day services. So that would be, and I also know, because you will provide transportation for people as well, right? So you'll bring people right to the center to have those experiences.
Yes. We are the contracted specialized transportation provider for Brown County. So we provide more than 200 rides a day.
Wow.
With the help of many volunteer drivers. So our retired community is wonderful, and it's a really neat opportunity to volunteer. It's incredibly rewarding. The people are really grateful, but they're bringing people to doctor's appointments, dialysis appointments, their job, grocery shopping, curative, CP, just all the different places that you might be. But you don't need to have anything other than a social engagement, and we'll bring you to that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, so many options here. If somebody wants to learn more about, you know, okay, here's my situation, here's my loved one, this is what they're dealing with, where do they start?
I would suggest going to our website, which is www.curativeconnections.org. and just learning about our different programs. We have 5 program areas, including specialized transportation being one of those. And then what we would do is, it's kind of like a university. You would talk with an intake specialist who would learn a little bit about what the individual is experiencing, what the goals are, things like that. There'd be a tour. It could be of both of our Green Bay locations. It could be of one, depending on what the member would be looking for. And then just determining what makes the most sense and where the person is the most comfortable and where they're going to thrive.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Just, again, just kind of a hidden gem in our community, and it may not be something where, okay, this is exactly what you do. Like, there's so much to what you do, and there's so much specialization in what you do, that probably the best choice would be for someone to come in and talk to that specialist and really start to look at what could be available.
Yeah, I think that it's so person-centered. Every single person has their own things that they're working on and their own. It's not just goals, but just their level of comfort. Some people come for half a day. Some people are there 5 days a week. It's just different for absolutely everybody. So coming in so we can really learn about you and then have the opportunity to see where you're going to feel the best. And that can shift and change as time goes on, too. Yeah. So there could be an individual that's in both our life and employment skills program right now, but in time is just doing life skills, or things just change. It's completely fluid.
Yeah. Well, so much great information, Kari, just so much to look into, and we just encourage you to, really look at this as a community resource, for yourself and your loved ones. And again, you can reach out if you're unsure on what may be provided. But anything else you wanted to talk about, Kari? Anything else that we didn't get to today that you wanted to share with the audience?
The only other thing I just want to mention is, when I talk about how Curative pivots based on what the community needs, we have found from caregivers that there are some gaps in support and resources for them. So we are taking a very intentional look at what the caregivers are going through. This is another statistic that is staggering to me, but 40% of those who care for a loved one pass away before the individual they're caring for. And it's just because of the extreme level of stress. Yeah. There are a lot of people who are in that middle part right now where we might be caring for mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, and also trying to work and things like that. And that's where Curative can really be an incredible resource for families. On so many different levels, we can allow a family member to stay living at home, which many times for our aging population, that's their goal. They just want to be able to stay at home as long as possible. Right. So, but in doing that, because Curative is so affordable, it costs about $10,000 if you are full-time for the entire year to come to Curative. But if you go to a residential facility, they're wonderful. I'm not by any means saying that they don't provide excellent services, but it's closer to $10,000 a month. Right. There's a woman who is actually working at Curative now. Her name is Mary. Her husband started using Curative about 6 years ago, and Mary's a teacher. She's an educator, so she was still trying to work at that time, and Curative allowed her to continue working. Glenn, her husband, just passed away this last year, and she talks about how this is a difficult time right now. She's obviously grieving and trying to figure out her new normal, but if she had not used Curative and they'd gone the residential route, she would have decimated her savings. And that would be an entirely additional thing to add on to the stresses that she's going through right now. So she's just grateful for that piece of it. So so we're going to be working on all different things for caregivers. One of the things that we want to do is provide support groups with respite. So you can bring your loved one with you and they can actually receive care, and the caregiver can go to the support group and truly have an experience to work through what they need to work through.
Awesome. Love that. Yeah. Love that. Well, keep us posted on that.
Sounds good.
We'll make sure we tell everybody. Well, so great to have you here today, Kari. Just really appreciate you taking the time. Love everything that you all are doing. that's been a focus for us, is to really look at how to support the caregiver. So I'm super excited with the stuff that you all are doing just to continue to support, that population, in our areas. So
thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So thanks to our audience as well. Please pass this along. If someone else that could really use this information and learn more about this great organization, please share this podcast, like and subscribe to it, and hopefully we'll see you next time.